Hey everybody, MTG Orzo here for PureMTGO.com with a 20-ticket EDH Commander deck list featuring Odric, Master Tactician. So, I was kind of wondering, I have a bunch of friends who play Commander in real life that I play with them before I moved, who are really hesitant about joining me on MTGO, which is where I play 100% of my Magic the Gathering nowadays. And the thing that always comes up is, I've already bought cards, like why would I spend more money to buy cards that probably I already own some of them? Like what sense is that? And that would be true. I would agree with you if it costs the same amount of money. So what this series is going to try to do is it's going to try to showcase five monocolored decks rather that are competitive, that play with fun cards that can all be built for less than 20 tickets. Now, this deck itself, as of 10:53 p.m. on the 11th of December 2015, using the lowest priced card version, so you might be dealing with some borders you don't want, but the lowest price of each available card on MTGOtraders.com comes out to about $19.95. So basically 20 tickets, right at the mark. And this deck plays fun cards. This deck doesn't just run, draft garbage. Like, this has ways to win. Obviously, this is a great starting point. There are lots of cards that you can replace and add in new cards. I'll try and point out some of those that I feel like are able, like, have a better, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, so have a better replacement cards that are just do something better but maybe cost more money. So I'm gonna go through this. Like, if you've watched my channel before, I talk about the deck, some of the interactions, the theory of the deck, and then run it through a couple games. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do nearly as many as decks I normally do for my channel, but I'll do 2 or 3 games with each 20-ticket deck I make. So let's start off with our commander, Odric, Master Tactician. So he is a legendary human soldier, a 3/4 for 4 with first strike. And whenever he and at least 3 other creatures attack, you choose which creatures block this combat and how those creatures block. So his keyword is sort of like a proto-battalion, and basically means that if you want to be unblockable, you can be. If you want to kill off some mana dorks or utility creatures, you can as well. It's just a really interesting take on kind of white weenie. So this is a soldier tribal deck. Rest in peace, Tribal Wars on MTGO, but this deck is very soldier heavy. I've made some, I cut some cards out of the initial build that weren't soldier enough. I mean, there are a lot of good knights that didn't make the cut because they were knights. Some of them are in here, but we'll talk about those. So first off, let's go over the lands. So we have only 34 lands. And this is to taste. With my weenie decks, I like to run little lands. You might want to run 36. I also only ever have 30 of a single art of a basic land at once, and I'm not using like Ancient Tomb and stuff like that because it was a little too expensive, and didn't do enough for the deck. So what we've got Drifting Meadow, cycling land. We've got Keldoran Outpost. If Keldoran Outpost would enter the battlefield, sacrifice a plane instead. If you do, put it onto the battlefield. If you don't, put it into the owner's graveyard. You can tap it, add a white to your mana pool. You can also pay 1 and a white, tap, put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield. So this land was a part of, I don't know if it was a cycle of lands, but it and no, because this came out in Alliance. Yeah, it was a cycle in Alliances because that was where Lake of the Dead was too. But it's a land that comes into play untapped. You do have to sacrifice a plane, but you don't have to sacrifice an untapped planes like the old Karus. And it taps for white, and it makes soldiers, so it goes in. Also, another thing to note, I might not be using the cheapest version of cards in this deck because I didn't buy cards that I already owned. Like off the top of my head, this Sol Ring is like a couple dollars with the old border, but you can get a Commander 14 Sol Ring for 9 cents. So don't expect to use the exact same art or borders of cards that I have, but all of these cards can be purchased for less than $20. Misfell Plains is a plains that enters the battlefield tapped, and if you control 2 or more white permanents, you can pay a white, tap it, put target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. So it's not like super relevant. We don't have a lot of tutors in this deck, but it is something to do. It is a plains. Obviously this isn't great later on, but it's just something else to do with your lands, and I try to give some interesting lands. We've got 30 plains. These definitely won't be in your budget. I think these are like 30 cents each, but most plains are a penny, so 30 plains is 30 cents. And we've also got the other cycling lands included Steppe. All right, so let's move on to 1-drops. Brave the Elements. White creatures you control gain protection from a color until end of turn. Very good for pushing through those last bits of damage. Champion of the Parish is a 1/1 human soldier. Whenever another human enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on him. He's just he's a guy that gets incrementally bigger. Not all of our guys are humans, but a lot of them are, enough to, you know, make running this pretty worth it. All right, Defilade Elite. Defilade Elite is a 1/1 human soldier with Provoke, which, if you don't know what Provoke is, whenever this creature attacks, you may have target creature defending player controls untap and block it if able. So when it like say they've got a, say they've got like this big beefy guy that you can't get through, you can swing with Defilade Elite and make it block it with Provoke. Let's say they got like a Sun Titan. And you need to get through Odric, and you have Defilade Elite. You can provoke the Sun Titan to block the Elite, and then you can pay 1 and a white and prevent all common damage that will be dealt to and by Defilade Elite this turn. So it's kind of like this weird little limited taunting elf that can really move away problematic blockers. Herald of Anafenza, a 1/1 or 1/2 for 1 with Outlast. Whenever you activate its Outlast ability, put a 1/1 white warrior creature token onto the battlefield. This is a soldier that makes tokens, so he was on the chopping block, but the need for a lot of creatures for Odric's ability outweighed the fact that the tokens weren't soldiers themselves. Him being a soldier was the cut. Like, if he was a warrior that made soldiers, it'd be easier, but a soldier that makes warriors is pretty okay, in my book. Swords to Plowshares. This is also, again, not the cheapest version you can get. This is a promo one, but I believe the Vintage Masters ones were 4 cents. And on the article on the website, I have all the prices that I found at the time of like an hour before this recording. Skull Clamp, great for token decks. Equipped creature gets +1/-1 when it dies. Draw 2 cards. Put it on everything but your commander, and you'll get some crazy advantage. It's one of the only ways white has for card advantage. So, especially at this low cost for money and mana. So it's really an auto include. I couldn't find room in the list for Stoneforge Mystic. It's not that expensive, but other cards were more thematically relevant, and I only run 3 bits of equipment, so it wasn't too worth it. Sol Ring is just value. Run it in every commander deck. Wayfarer's Bauble is just a slow rampant growth for non-green decks, and it's like a penny. So, all right, 2 mana. We've got Ballyrush Banneret. Knights and soldiers you cast, or Kithkin and soldiers spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So it's a 2/1 for 2 that makes all your soldiers cheaper, which is, you know, very cool. Gift of Estates, whose picture is broken for some reason. It's a sorcery. If an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for up to 3 planes, reveal them, put them into your hand. Great if you're on the if you're on the draw. Also, if you get someone who starts ramping, you can't catch up with ramp, but you can at least guarantee your land drops. A very important card. Land tax, again, was outside of our budget. Honor of the Pure, white creatures you control get +1/+1, and its buddy Crusade, white creatures get +1/+1. Are neat little anthems. Make your smaller dudes bigger and more of a threat. We have Relic Seeker is our stand-in for what's her name? Stoneforge Mystic. 2/2 for 2. Human Soldier with Renown. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, if it isn't renowned, put a 1/1 counter on it and it becomes renowned. And when he becomes renowned, search your library for an equipment, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. So you get him out on turn 2, swing out on turn 3, get a Skull Clamp, play it, and equip it to something. So it's definitely good enough to make the cut. We've got Thalia, Garden of Thraben, a legendary 2/1 human soldier from Dark Ascension, I believe. First strike, non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. This gimps some of our deck, but most of our deck is creatures, so it usually is better at harming other players. And when this promo came out, this promo is like 40 cents because the art's not great. But the other one is pushing $2, so this put this really in the range of affordability for mono white decks. And I didn't have one for some reason, so I had a chance. I had an excuse to pick one up. Precedence Captain, a 2/2 for 2 with first strike. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, you put a 1/1 soldier token into play. Leonin Sun Standard, probably one of my favorite anthems in white. It's a 2-mana artifact, and you can pay 1 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. It's a great mana sink for late game mono white decks, I believe. I think it's definitely, like, it made the cut over like Glorious Anthem, Obelisk of Erd, and Hall of Triumph. Yeah, all of those got cut in favor of this because I've found this one to just be much better. It doesn't give an immediate bonus, but you got to treat it like a pump spell, not as an anthem. Lightning Greaves is our equipment. Marble Diamond, a little bit of acceleration, and Mind Stone is a little bit of acceleration. Also, Pearl Medallion, all of our white spells cost 1 less to cast. Thank you, Commander 14, for bringing down the prices of these because they were pushing like $3 or $4, and so these brought them back down to like half a dollar to $1 for the good ones. All right. 3 mana, Bastion Protector, whose picture is also unfortunately broken, is a 3/3 for 3 human soldier. Commander creatures you control get +2/+2 and have indestructible. So if you curve out, let's say you go Champion of the Parish into Thalia, or let's say or like the Precedence Captain into Bastion Protector into Odric, and you've got this force to be reckoned with. Cool card from Commander 15 and the legendary prize packs. Hopefully her picture will be working when I decide to play some games. Crusader of Odric goes thematically with Odric Master Tactician. Power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. Not necessarily a turn 3 play, but is a great 3 mana like turn 6 or 7 play when you have a bunch of dudes. Intrepid Hero is a 1/1 for 3. Tap, destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. Great for clearing the way, and has the 7th edition is just great art. Mentor of the Meek, invaluable in any white weenie deck. A 2/2 for 3. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. Just a much needed source of card advantage, and it's in the same. It's on Innistrad, so. Mirror Entity is a soldier. It's a 1/1 for 3 shapeshifter, which means it has changeling, so this card is every creature type, and it has pay X until your end of turn. Creatures you control have base power and toughness X and gain all creature types. So this makes all your creatures soldiers and makes them X big, which is very fun. And then the X, of course, is boosted by all of your bonuses. So very cool. Oblivion Ring is just permanent removal. It's semi-permanent, permanent removal. if that made any sense. Preeminent Captain, a 2/2 for 3 first striking soldier. When he attacks, you may put a soldier card from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. Just a very, very nifty way to go about doing this. Gets free stuff. You can get like a Captain of the Watch out pretty early, which is pretty backbreaking. Going in from like that to Captain of the Watch to Odric, it's pretty good. Soltar Champion, a 2/2 for 3 with Shadow, so it can't block and it can't be blocked by creatures without Shadow. Whenever he attacks, other creatures you control get +1/+1. So he's an Anthem that's always going to get through. Very cool card. Also, Tempest Remastered brought him down like 10 cents. So, Veteran Swordsmith is a 2-mana, or is a 3-mana 3/2. Other soldier creatures you control get +1/+0. Just a little bit of a buff. Archetype of Endurance. Creatures you control have first strike. Creatures your opponents control lose first strike and can't gain or have first strike. It's a great way to get through damage. Eidolon of Countless Battles is a 0/0 for 3 with Bestow. It and Enchanted Creature each get +1/+1 for each creature you control and each aura you control. So you can put him on to Odric if you need to like make him bigger, or you can make him his own dude. Field Marshal is a 2/2 for 3. Other soldiers you control have, or other soldier creatures, all soldier creatures have +1/+1 at first strike. It's an old lord that affected everybody. And then Fiend Hunter, one of the only non-soldiers in the deck. He is a human cleric. When he enters the battlefield, exile target creature. When he leaves the battlefield, return it. So he's an Oblivion Ring on, or he's a Journey to Nowhere, basically, on legs. Alright, 4-mana, Enlistment Officer. So is a 4-mana 2/3. First strike, enters the battlefield, reveal the top 4 cards of your library. Put all soldier cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. So if you've ever played against the Goblin deck that runs that 4-mana Goblin, this is from the same set, I think? I might be wrong. It does basically the same thing. Helia, God of the Sun, unfortunately does not make a bunch of soldiers. He makes clerics, but gives everything vigilance, and he's an indestructible 5/6. And you can make tokens with him, so he makes the cut. Paragon of New Dawns, Anthem on legs, and other white creatures you control get +1/+1. You can pay a white and tap her. Another target white creature you control gains vigilance until end of turn. Phantom General, creature tokens you control get +1/+1. Daru War Chief, soldier spells cost 1 less to cast. Soldier creatures you control get +1/+2. So he may look like a 4-mana 1/1, but he's a 4-mana 2/3 actually. Hero Bladehold is another non-soldier that definitely makes the cut. It's a 4-mana 3/4 Battle Cry. Whenever this creature attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. When she attacks, put 2 1/1 white soldier tokens onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So just a great curb topper. Not really curb topper, but like great middle game white weenie card. Jazal Goldmane. This card could easily be like Elspeth Knight Errant if she wasn't like $6. But as it is, this is a 4-mana 4/4 legendary cat warrior. So he's not a soldier, but it's first strike, and you can pay 5, and attacking creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of attacking creatures. So he plays very well with this deck, so he makes the cut. Parallax Wave is a 4-mana enchantment with Fading 5. Where is it? Where'd it go? Remove a fade counter from Parallax Wave, exile target creature, and when Parallax Wave leaves the battlefield, each player returns to the battlefield all cards he or she owns exiled with Parallax Wave. So this card is really, you don't cast this as spot removal, you cast this, well, I mean, I guess if you need to cast it as spot removal, you can, but this card is really just for alpha swings. Like, they have, you know, 5 blockers, you can remove them all and then just swing out. Very cool card. Also, thanks Vintage Masters for bringing the price down. Return to Dust is my personal favorite artifact enchantment removal card. Instant from Time Spiral, exile target artifact or enchantment. If you cast this during your main phase, however, you may exile up to one other target artifact or enchantment. So you can hit 2 things if you cast this sorcery speed, and you can hit 1 thing if you cast it instant speed, but it also exiles it, so it's very, very much worth it. Angel of Jubilation, another Anthem on legs, is a 4-mana 3/3. Flying, other non-black creatures you control get +1/+1. Players can't pay life or sacrifice creatures to cast spells or activate abilities. So this is really good. It's a flying Anthem that also shuts down some very powerful decks in the format. So she's 1 cent, so fucking pick her up. I don't know, can I say that? Do I have to like censor myself? Alright, we've got Archangel of Tides. Is a 4-mana 3/5 flying. As long as it is untapped, creatures can attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1 for each creature. And as long as Archangel of Tides is attacking, creatures can't block unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. So it just puts a tax on everything. So if they have 4 blockers and 2 mana up and you swing out with 4 guys, they can only block 2 things because they can only pay 2 mana. And then our last piece of equipment, thematically, Moon Silver Spear. Equipped creature has first strike. Whenever it attacks, put a 4/4 angel token onto the battlefield with flying. Just a fun card that I don't get to play in a lot of decks because it's outclassed by pretty much every other thing, but it's cheap and it's flavorful, so it goes in. Okay, 5 mana. First off, we've got 5 seconds to tell me what sweep does. What does the sweep mechanic do? Alright, so Charge Across the Arava is a 5-mana sorcery or instant from Arcane Instant with Sweep. Return any number of planes you control to their owner's hands. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn for each plane's return this way. So this is the alpha strikiest card to end all alpha strikiest. Like if you mess up this attack, you're done. Like you're just straight up done. There's no coming back from that for you. You have returned all of your lands to play since we run 30 planes in the hopes that you're going to push through the damage you need. But, like, if you are alpha swinging, this is better than, like, Overrun. This is better than a lot of cards. And it's just sort of overlooked because it's this weird uncommon from, like, Kamigawa. Angelic Overseer, another Innistrad card. A 5-mana 5/3 with flying. As long as you control a human, Angelic Overseer has hexproof and indestructible. So just a cool, flavorful card to stick in the deck. It's a this card could easily be Baneslayer Angel, and no one would blink an eye. But as it stands, I personally really like this card. So a chance to really play this makes me happy on the inside. Catapult Master, a 3-mana or a 5-mana 3/3. Tap 5 untapped soldiers you control. Exile target creature. With hilarious flavor text. I'll give you a second to read it. But you know, in grindy games, this guy will give you the value you need to push through. All right, Cathar's Crusade, once the most busted card on Magic Online because it would just your computer would just freak out. It's an enchantment from Avacyn Restored. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So this card is silly. This card is dumb. And really just makes your armies huge and really is a card that enables White Weenie in EDH. So being able to have this card is key to pretty much every White Weenie strategy. Dictate of Heliod is a 5-mana enchantment with flash. Creatures you control get +2/+2. This is also sort of like an alpha strike card. You swing out, they don't like... They think they have another turn, you flash in Dictate of Heliod and you just win. It's always fun to do. Alright, Elspeth Terrell, 5-mana Planeswalker with the abilities +2. Put 2 loyalty counters on her, you gain 1 life for each creature you control. -2, put 3 1/1 white soldier tokens onto the battlefield, and -5, destroy all other permanents except for lands and tokens. So because the budget on this is $20, we do get to play with some planeswalkers. So we've got Elspeth Terrell, who can make dudes gain us life, and then her ultimate is actually really easy to achieve and can win you the game. So definite inclusion here. Also, we have Gideon Jura, a more control-y planeswalker, but he's a 5-mana planeswalker, comes into play with 6 loyalty. +2, during target opponent's next turn, all creatures that player controls attacks Gideon Jura if able. -2, destroy target tapped creature, and then 0, until end of turn, he is a 6/6 human soldier that is still a planeswalker, and you prevent all damage that will be dealt to him this turn. So he can do planeswalker stuff, and he can also join the battle as a huge soldier dude that gets all the buffs from our soldier anthems. Alright, this is a weird one. I'm testing this out. Hixus Prison Warden is a legendary human soldier, 4/4 for 5 with flash. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, if Hixus Prison Warden enter the battlefield, exile that creature until Hixus leaves the battlefield. So basically, once you get hit, you flash this in, or you flash this in when they're attacking. So when everything hits you, it all gets exiled under Hixus. I don't know how good it is. I've literally never seen this card played before, but I'm going to play it. So, all right, next up is Kalimne's Captain. Is a 5-mana 5/5 giant soldier with vigilance from the legendary prize pack Commander 15. With Monstrosity 3, you can pay 5 and 2 white to put 3 1/1 counters on it, and it becomes monstrous. When it becomes monstrous, exile all artifacts and enchantments. So this deck needed a reset button for that kind of stuff, and Kalimne's Captain, which just came out, is a huge soldier with a good body, and it kind of fits all those roles, so welcome aboard. Conquerors Pledge, 5-mana sorcery with Kicker 6. Put 6 white core soldier tokens onto the battlefield. If it was kicked, put 12 onto the battlefield instead. So just a way to get a bunch of dudes. Gus Angel, a 5-mana or a 6-mana 5/5 flying. When it enters the battlefield, another target permanent gains indestructible for as long as you control Gus Angel. Another just flavorful angel helping old Odric out. We have Angelic Skirmisher, flying at the beginning of combat. Choose First Strike, Vigilance, or Lifelink. Creatures you control gain that ability until end of turn. So this is another card that allows you to attack more profitably, and that's sort of what this deck wants. We've got Captain of the Watch, a 6-mana 3/3 with Vigilance. Other soldier tokens other soldier creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Vigilance. So it's a lord that also gives 3 white soldier tokens onto the battlefield. So that's, whoops, I threw my pen. So that's just the definition of value in a soldier deck. Like I said, like putting this into play off of a preeminent captain can be just backbreaking to the opponent. Elspeth's Champion is a 6-mana planeswalker with 4 loyalty with a +1 of put 3 white soldier tokens onto the battlefield, -3, destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater, and -7, creatures you control have +2/+2 and have flying. So this card really is the top of our, well, it's not really, okay, we have one card that's the top of our curve, but this is the card that I was most excited to be able to fit into the budget. I think it's a very cool card. I remember when this card was like $30, but oh, how the mighty have fallen. You're like $2 now. Next up, True Conviction, my favorite white card, is 6-mana enchantment. Creatures you control have double strike and lifelink. Another sort of cast this when they're not expecting it and steal the game. Only have a couple more cards left, guys. I won't keep you too much longer. We've got Angel of Glory's Rise, a 5-mana or a 7-mana 4/6 flying angel. When it enters the battlefield, exile all zombies, then return all human creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So the zombie thing can blow out some decks, I suppose, but it also returns all your humans to play. So that's really what's the good part about it. And then Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite, a 7-mana 4/7 Vigilance. Creatures you control, other creatures you control rather, get +2/+2. Creatures your opponents control get -2/-2. So it comes down nukes their board and then just buffs all of your guys. And just another card that really got helped by being a promo and being in Modern Masters 2 to bring the price down to get into this deck list. 2 more cards: Marshal Coup, sorcery, 2 white X. Put X 1/1 white soldier tokens onto the battlefield. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. So if there's a huge problem, you can get rid of it and put as much mana as you can into it and hopefully get that many soldier tokens. Very cool Wrath, and we needed a Wrath in this deck. Decree of Justice is a sorcery where you can pay 4, 2 and 2 white XX to put X 4/4 angel tokens onto the battlefield with flying. But you can cycle it, pay 2 and a white, discard this card, draw a card. When you cycle it, you may pay X. If you do, put X 1/1 white soldier tokens onto the battlefield. So this card could easily, again, be replaced with Entreat the Angels, but Entreat the Angels is expensive, and this card is not. So you can, if you've got a lot of mana, you can bring out those flyers to sort of seal up the game. But if you don't have a lot of mana, you just have some mana, you can cycle this, which makes it basically uncounterable as well. Draw a card, and then put, maybe 5 or 6 guys into play, which might be better. More guys might be better if you have a bunch of pump, if you have a bunch of anthems and stuff like that. So that's the deck. This deck is, as of right now, less than 20 tickets. I'm going to play it through some games. I hope you really like the article. Check out other people articles on puremtgo.com for everything about Magic the Gathering Online. And if you are interested in getting into Magic Online, I highly recommend using MTGO traders, as they have phenomenal service, never been disappointed. You just fucking use them, okay? I think I'm going to censor myself for these videos.